If you've struggled with anxiety for years, the problem might not be just in your head. It might also be in your body composition, specifically in the fat you cannot see, the muscle you've been quietly losing, and the metabolic shifts happening under your skin that are directly fueling the anxiety you can't seem to fix. So I did something most psychiatrists haven't done. I tested the Hume Body Port on myself for several weeks. I'm going to show you my real numbers, including the unflattering ones, because that's the only way this is useful to you. I wanted to know one thing. Could a body composition scan actually reveal the hidden drivers that could contribute to anxiety and other mental disorders? Or is it just another wellness gadget destined to collect dust? I'm going to show you my real data, walk you through what every number means, and connect each one to something most doctors don't talk about. I'm Dr. Air, quadruple board-certified psychiatrist and anxiety expert. I've treated thousands of people struggling with anxiety, burnout, and chronic stress. And before I show you a single number, I want to talk to the person watching who has tried medications, therapy, breathing apps, supplements, and still feels stuck. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're not anxious because you lack willpower or because you haven't tried hard enough. Your nervous system is responding to something real happening inside your body. And once you can actually see what it is, recovery becomes possible. That's what this video is about. So what's the Hume Body Port? Well, most people think of body composition devices as fitness tools. You step on, check your body fat, feel good or bad about yourself, and move on. That's not the case here. The Hume Body Port measures things a regular scale doesn't. Visceral fat, muscle distribution, metabolic age, the age at which your body burns energy at rest. It builds a full map of what is happening underneath your skin. And here's why a psychiatrist cares about any of that. I think about a patient I'll call Sarah. Successful, disciplined, doing everything right. She exercised, she ate clean, she took her supplements, but she still felt anxious, exhausted, and overwhelmed. Her labs looked normal, her weight looked normal. Her doctor told her everything looked good, but inside, she didn't feel that way. Here is what most people do not realize. Anxiety is not just a brain problem. It is a whole body problem. Your nervous system reads signals from your gut, hormones, immune system, and metabolic health. When you're inflamed and dysregulated, your brain reads those signals as danger. You feel that danger as anxiety. The standard scale tells you nothing about this, and neither do most lab tests. The Hume Body Port sheds some light on these hidden parameters. Here are my results. My visceral fat index came back at 6, rated low. My subcutaneous fat mass was 26.1 pounds, also low. So those were good. Visceral fat is the most important fat to track if you care about your mental and physical health. It is the fat wrapped around your liver, your intestines, your heart, and it is the single biggest driver of systemic inflammation in the body. Here is the part most doctors never explain. Fat tissue is not harmless. It produces chemicals called cytokines, inflammatory messengers that travel through your bloodstream and cross into your brain. Once they reach the brain, they disrupt the neurotransmitters that regulate mood and anxiety, serotonin, GABA, dopamine. This is called neuroinflammation. In fact, there is now an entire field of research called the cytokine model of mood, showing that inflammation in the body can directly produce the feelings we label as anxiety and depression. When visceral fat is elevated, your body lives in a low-grade inflammatory state. Your HPA axis, the system that runs your stress response, gets dysregulated. Cortisol spikes more easily. Your nervous system remains in a constant low-level state of alarm. That is what chronic anxiety looks like at the cellular level. You cannot see visceral fat in the mirror. You cannot feel it. A standard scale cannot measure it. But the body port can, and that one number tells me more about a patient's anxiety risk than their weight ever will. My lean mass was 156.3 pounds, 78.9% of my total body weight, rated standard. My skeletal muscle mass was 108.5 pounds. But here is where it gets interesting. Muscle is not just for strength or looks. Muscle is the most powerful blood sugar regulator in your body. The more muscle you have, the more stable your blood sugar stays all day. It is responsible for about 80 to 85% of insulin-stimulated glucose uptake after meals. And blood sugar stability is one of the most underrated tools for managing anxiety. When your blood sugar crashes, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline to bring it back up. Your brain could interpret that surge as panic, racing heart, shaky hands, a wave of dread that comes out of nowhere, just like the 3 p.m. crash Sarah couldn't explain. Unfortunately, this gets worse as we get older. Muscle mass declines by about 3 to 8% per decade after age 30, a process called sarcopenia. For many adults in midlife, that quiet decline is one of the hidden reasons the anxiety has gotten worse over the years. The Hume Body Port is the first body scan I've seen that clearly tracks loss. My trunk muscle came in at 73.7 pounds, rated low. That told me my core was a weak point, and weak core muscles affect more than posture. They affect how deeply you breathe, which affects your vagal tone, which directly affects your ability to calm your own nervous system. One low number on a scanner and it traces straight back to anxiety. But the number that actually made me rethink how I screen patients was still coming. This is the one that surprised me the most. My metabolic age came back at 37 years. My actual age is 50. Now, let me be honest. Metabolic age is not a formal medical diagnosis. It is a composite that the device builds from your metabolism, your muscles, and your cellular health. But as a snapshot, it is genuinely useful. Here's what most people never connect. A higher metabolic age reflects unfavorable metabolic health that often coexists with insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is associated with anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. The brain is incredibly sensitive to insulin. When the body becomes insulin resistant, the brain often suffers. Most people never know they are heading down this path until symptoms appear. The Hume Body Port gives you that early warning years before a standard checkup shows this. My basal metabolic rate was 1897 calories, rated high. That is how many calories your body burns at rest, just to stay alive. A high number usually reflects strong muscles and healthy metabolism. A low BMR could be due to low muscle mass, smaller body size, older age, or female sex. But here's what nobody tells you. A low BMR could also mean your body has shifted into conservation mode. This happens with chronic stress, chronic undereating, or years of dieting. When your metabolism slows, this can affect your thyroid, your sex hormones, your mitochondria, the energy producers inside every cell, including your brain cells. This leads to mitochondrial dysfunction. And research increasingly suggests it may be one of the deepest biological roots of chronic anxiety. Now, I want to be honest with you about something. For some of you watching, even when you optimize all of this, your anxiety may not fully resolve without additional support. That might mean therapy. That might mean medication. It might mean longer-term integrative work. That is not failure. That is just being a human with a complex nervous system. But addressing your body composition, your inflammation, and your metabolic health is one of the most useful foundations you can build. Everything else works better when this foundation is solid. When I saw my own results, two things stood out. My trunk muscle was low, and I knew I could protect my metabolic age by building more muscle. So I made two changes. I added strength training focused on my core and posterior chain twice a week, and I increased my protein intake to 30 grams per meal to help support muscle and stabilize blood sugar. Note that the Hume Body Port is not a cure for anxiety or any mental condition. Nothing is. But it gives you something most people have never had, a clear, objective picture of what is actually happening inside your body. The inflammation, the muscle, the metabolic health, the hidden drivers your standard doctor visit doesn't highlight. And if you want to go one step further, the Hume Band picks up where the Body Port leaves off. The pod shows you the map. The band tracks the daily terrain, your HRV, your sleep stages, your recovery. If you want to try the Hume Body Port and Band, my link and discount code are in the description below. It gives you 20% off and it stacks up for 50% off.